Welcome to Hot Flashes and Higher Self, the podcast where midlife becomes your awakening. I'm Soraya, a clinical hypnotherapist and rapid transformational therapist guiding women through perimenopause and beyond, embracing transformation rather than just symptom management. Each week, myself and inspiring women in wellness will dive into mindset shifts, somatic tools, spiritual practices, and the candid stories that move us towards our limitless selves. So, if you're navigating perimenopause, menopause, or simply just wondering what's next for me, then you're in the right place. Let's rise together, mind, body, and spirit. This is Hot Flashes and Higher Self. So today in the podcast, I'm delighted to welcome Oxana, the founder of Avidia. Oxana's work beautifully bridges the psychological and the soulful. She's a cognitive behavioural hypnotherapist, systematic and family constellation facilitator, coach, and numerologist, supporting people to gently uncover the deeper patterns shaping their lives in relationships, emotions, and sense of purpose. Her approach is both grounded and intuitive, creating safe and compassionate spaces where insight, healing, and real transformation can unfold. She works with the subconscious, the nervous system, and the wider family and energetic field, helping people reconnect with clarity, resilience, and their authentic path. Oxana will also be joining us at the retreat this February, where she'll be bringing her systematic and integrative perspective into the space, supporting deeper reflection, connection, and embodied insights. In this conversation, we explore her journey, her work, and how approaching healing systematically and holistically can create profound shifts, not just in how we think, but how we live and relate. I'm so pleased to welcome Oxana to the podcast. Welcome, Oxana.
Thank you very much, Soraya. It's a privilege of mine to join you today to our podcast.
Yeah, great. So before we start, could you share a little bit about your own journey, personally and professionally, and what led you into hypnotherapy, systemic, I'm pronouncing it wrong, systemic constellations, and holistic coaching?
Sure. Well, my journey really began when I was born, so I have a very interesting history. So my mom is a holistic professional, and her journey started when we were born prematurely, me and my sister. I have a twin sister. And we were born with the heart condition that no doctor at the time could heal. And we were told by doctors, traditional medicine couldn't really help, that we have life capacity of expectancy of about 13 years old. And that is not operable. And obviously, my mom just decided she wasn't going to have it. She decided that she was going to look for alternative options. She found one very famous at the time, Reiki healer called Juna. She went on and studied that technique, obviously applied on us, and it did obviously help, and started healing. That was her journey. So she had no choice. She had to go through this. We were born. I think we've decided to came to this world to teach her and open that skill in her. However, I grew up in esoteric and spiritual family myself. But until like probably 33, my mom was 33, by the way, when we were born, I really wanted to pursue a completely different career. I studied business and marketing. I came to UK when I was 21. And for a long time, I decided that it wasn't going to be my path. I just wanted to study business and do something else. So I had my MBA and I started fashion business. And it was going well, and I kind of I thought I fulfilled my dream. But then I realized that it's really not fulfilling me inside, and kind of on the paper it looks amazing. I have my own business, I've got MBA, I had fashion business at a time. So, and then my pandemic came, I decided to sell my business. And when pandemic came, I went on a soul searching journey. I spent more than 6 months in Bali and went back to all the spiritual practices such as Vipassana. I did it 6 times, and meditation. and other holistic practices. And I realized that my real path and journey and passion is helping other people, and I cannot like kind of deny myself anymore. And at the time, I decided to start doing something in this field. So I chose numerology because it resonated with me strongly. So I started giving consultations and natal readings to my clients, and that really took off. And I was doing that part-time for a long time. Um, and then a very strange thing happened. So I was just doing that part-time. I didn't want to become a full-time holistic healer, but people started coming to me with their problems. They were like, I wasn't seeking, to be honest, at the time, kind of to become full-time therapist. And they would just start coming to me and say, look, I've got this problem. Can you work with me? And I realized, okay, then I probably need to pursue this career and this journey. So I went on and completed cognitive behavioral hypnotherapy training,
Mhm.
and I started, I started taking clients, and that's how my journey really began. And since then, it started taking off. I still had a full-time career until this year. I just left literally 2 months ago. Finally left my part-time career, and I can now really fully focus on what I love to do.
Mhm.
I came across family constellations by surprise, by accident. So I didn't know what that is. So I went on one of the networking events, like a female entrepreneur events, and they had family constellation practice session there. And I just happened to be part of that session. And something really shifted in me when towards the end of that session, I realized that something happened. Soraya, you've been to my session, you know how that works. And when you meet random, complete strange people, strangers who don't know you, and then
Mhm.
you set up a constellation on a specific topic, and you end up in tears towards the end of the
Mhm.
session. I've realized something really shifted, something magical happened. I can't quite explain what, but this method definitely works. So I've started exploring family constellation, and I took some training, and since then it really started taking off.
Mhm. Yeah, thank you for sharing that journey. It's really interesting how it all came from your mum. She was the original one that kind of opened that up, but then you went in your own journey, you said, after the lockdown.
Yes, I guess I wanted to try different my own path before I kind of decided to come back to the spiritual journey. I think you need to be quite mature
Mm.
to peak, and I'm glad that was my path. It wasn't
Mhm.
a straightforward path. Some people like work, they know what they want to do since they're
Mhm.
young. I guess I've always had this kind of maybe, you know, preconceived ideas or stereotypes that if I do
Mm.
business, if I have my own company, that would make me happy. But
Mhm.
yeah, so I'm glad that I went through that journey.
Mm. And so your approach, like you mentioned, blends cognitive behavioral hypnotherapy, family systemic installations, and psychological support. How do you weave together the practical, emotional, and deeper systemic layers in your work?
Yes, it's a very good question. So I love this too, and I think they complement each other beautifully. And the reason why, because cognitive behavioral hypnotherapy, CBT, it's a
Mhm.
very hands-on, practical modality. So we work with here and now on, for example, reframing cognitive distortions. We give practical tools. What can we do right now on coping skills? There's a lot of psychoeducation. For example, people come with anxiety, performance-related issues, confidence, anything like that. So it's a very hands-on, very practical tool. We would schedule, for example, interventions or homework. So we work with here and now. What can we do now
Mhm.
to help ourselves. There's a lot of coping skills I give to my clients. But family systemic constellation, they look deeper. They look at the root cause or where the problem might be coming from.
Mhm.
So, and this is specifically can be applied for the problems that are hard to break. For example, if we feel we're struggling and stuck in a particular issue, that's why
Mhm.
systemic constellations are extremely useful because they look at the root cause and we look at the family dynamics and intergenerational traumas as well as, what can we do here now. So they complement each other beautifully depending on the client's inquiry.
Mhm. Okay. And I know you talked a bit about systemic constellations, but
Mhm.
for listeners who haven't heard of this before, how can they support emotional, physical, or relational well-being through this systemic constellations?
Mhm. Yes, let me try to explain it in a simple way. So,
Before you go on to explain, Oksana, I just want to say that, as
yeah,
you mentioned earlier, I came to one of your workshops and
yeah,
you did try to explain it to me.
yeah,
And honestly, it was very difficult to kind of grasp what it meant.
yeah.
So when I came for that day, I experienced it myself, and I have to say it was very powerful. But again, when people ask me what happened, I can't, I can't really explain it. It's a
I know
very, yeah. Mhm.
it's really difficult to explain. I will try to put it in a
Yes,
simple
please.
word. So,
Mhm.
systemic cancellation it's just a way, a modality of revealing hidden dynamics within family systems or larger system that affect our emotional, physical health or relational well-being. It's a process of really mapping out this relationship or roles or patterns that can be influencing this particular problem. During this process, we identify the hidden blocks and entanglements or unresolved traumas that take root in your family history. And we kind of are mapping out what's going on in your subconscious. So we work with the subconscious as well, what is hidden, and we shed light onto these dynamics. The process itself look like similar. It's very similar to role play, but it's not. And essentially, it's we pick to represent. For example, if somebody comes with a say uh, systemic issues such as I can't find a partner because my mom was single and I'm kind of repeating her negative family scenario in me and there's nothing I can do to help it. We would then allocate a representative to represent part of that problem. So we kind of divide it to different parts and see what is the relational dynamic between different elements of this problem in a simple terms, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. And it's the idea, it's interesting because when I came, you have the idea of you have the issue holder and then you
Yeah.
have a representative.
Yes, we
So
have
yeah.
two type of tickets. You can
Hmm.
come and just experience and embody yourself and
Hmm.
just help to represent, or you can bring your own issue. So yes,
Hmm.
there are two type of tickets. Obviously, the demand for the issue holders is much higher because within our group setting, we can only do 4 to 5 cases per day per group session, and it does take some time. It's from in my
It's a
last
whole day,
Yes,
Oksana.
whole day event. It takes some time to really, I would say 1.5 to 2 hour per case per single person. So that is, yeah, that is what it is.
And what I found interesting when I came experiencing that the workshop at your home was how you're working with the subconscious, but you're not doing hypnosis because as you are, like I'm also a hypnotherapist, and we do the inductions to get our clients into that hypnotic state, whereas you're not doing that. We're completely
Yes.
conscious.
Oh,
However, yeah.
yes, and the secret behind this is that we work with what's called the knowing or morphic field. And knowing
Mm,
or morphic field is it's a systemic memory. It holds all the
mm,
memory of all the events that happen in your family system. And by tapping in, we open that up. So
Mhm.
when people stand onto the role, they don't need to do anything. There's no preparation. All you need to do is really bring yourself. And by stepping in, you activate the memory. There is no really magic. Nobody really knows, to be honest, how it works, but all we know it does work. The most kind of the analogy I can give so people so your listeners can relate is probably if you know about the terms of collective consciousness. You
Mhm.
know, in the collective consciousness, in the example of the beehive or the, for example, flock of birds, how it is organized. It's organized in its own, right? Because there's some kind of knowledge of hierarchy or of the everybody has its own place. It's similar dynamic we have in systemic constellation. That's why it's called systemic. There are certain systemic rules and principles, and you know they govern that there are certain forces that govern our life, and
Mhm.
within family constellation we open this up and we look at these rules and principles, for example the rule of hierarchy with our parents, and
Mhm.
we dig in deeper into this systemic wisdom during our constellation, and I explain what we do. For example, once we understood and found the root cause of the problem, I can then offer resolution sentences to release that tension and entanglement and to restore the balance within the family system.
Mm. Yeah, thank you for explaining that. Yeah. But I think it's really something to, when you explain it, but something else to actually experience it.
Yes, it's something that you need to embody. And the good thing
Mm.
about it, why it's so powerful, is that once you physically represent and both representative and issue holder experience equal amount of healing, once you embody this emotion, once you experience it, you can't forget about it. Because once you felt it, once you've stepped onto this role, it's stuck in your memory. That's why it's very, very effective. So
Mm.
really difficult to unsee or forget. But again, it's something that it needs to be experienced. And I would just say, come with open mind. I also welcome, I had people just come and observe, not even
Mhm.
participate, just to understand what it is. And you can come and observe if you're interested and you're not sure whether you want to participate even as a representative. It's also
Yeah.
a possible solution. Mhm.
Um, okay, thank you for explaining that. So, why is it important to look beyond individual symptoms to family or systemic patterns when we're talking about healing and transformation?
Well, there's a very simple answer because a lot of our problems, and we don't understand it. That's why I think systemic wisdom is so important to spread and talk about, because what we think it's ours, what we carry in our subconscious mind might not be even ours. There's an amazing book, it's called It Didn't Start With You by Mark Voilin. And
Hmm.
he talks about that I would say 60 to 90, 60 to probably 80% of all our problems and struggles we inherited. So we inherited from our parents, it's intergenerational. That's why the root causes may be um well,
Before we
they
were
may be
born.
hidden, yes. So
Wow.
that's why not everything can be fixed when we just look at our individual patterns and journeys.
What was the
We
name of the book, Oxana? I'll write it down.
Well, it didn't start with you, but
It didn't start with
Mark
you. Hmm.
Voilin, yes, it's one of the best and simplest book. It's been translated to like 80 languages. It's one of the
Okay.
most popular book, and it talks about how we can, of his journey, how he got healed. He nearly went blind. He went
Mm.
to retreat in ashram somewhere, and
Mm.
how his journey began when healing his family, healing relationship with his parents first. That's how he got healed. It's very, very interesting. Mark Voilin, I studied with him as well online, and he's one of the best practitioners out there.
I'll drop that in the notes for anyone who's interested. I'm definitely going to read that. I think that's an interesting concept that is even before we were born, we've inherited these issues.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, and how do psychological blocks, old relational patterns, or inherited beliefs show up in the body, and how can they be addressed?
Very good question. So they all are, especially if you have a tendency, I think, for men and women who don't show the emotion, or since your early young developmental stage where you learned to freeze your emotions. So we have different ways of how we can handle different emotions: freeze, flee, or what was the other one?
Fights.
Right, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So most of us as kids learn to freeze emotions, and that's the most dangerous one, unfortunately, because when you freeze your emotions, for example, if you have had parents who didn't allow you to scream or express loudly, or even express your disagreement, right?
Hmm.
Strict parents, or even, God forbid, emotionally abusive parents. So
Hmm.
what the child and nervous system learns is to suppress and hold it inside until
Hmm.
it's safe. And unfortunately, that causes a lot of problem because your body end up accumulating all of these emotions and they are stored in physical body. And these later can manifest as disease
Yeah.
and pain and all different. So it's all stored in the body. And the I think what I also tell to my clients and students is that we should also integrate not only one modality, such as family constellation is amazing modality, but also, especially if you have deep-seated traumas, to add breath work, to add some even yoga, to work with body, to not only work with your conscious mind,
Hmm.
subconscious mind, but also implement physical body, even gym and exercise. You don't understand, we don't really understand how important to process and get emotions out of our bodies because they are literally stuck.
Hmm.
There's a very good book which is written on the how memories get stuck in our bodies, and I think is one of the best. It's about releasing the tiger, I think. Hold on, let me find this
There's a
book.
book called The Body Holds Score.
Body Holds the Score is one of the, yes, I also recommend, but is the best one is, one sec, let me, I'm just gonna find it in a minute. It's Body Holds the Score. I think it's every psychologist and people
Mm.
need. Yeah, it's called Walking the Tiger.
Walking the Tiger. Okay.
Peter Levine is one of the best books about how these emotions get stuck in the body and ways of how to release them, especially if it's a traumatic event such as abuse, how is best to release it. So, yes, I think it should be an additional tool to work with.
Yeah, completely agree. I think it's so important. It's not just the mind to work with, but like the body and soul. It's all interconnected. And I think it has to be in balance, right?
Yes, and from my experience, the most intense and efficient practices
Mhm.
are definitely breath work. And I personally exercise a lot. So I think just the physical movement, even yoga or walking, can help you
Mm.
to release and get, release
Yeah. I
release
mean,
the.
I always like to go for a jog whenever I feel stressed or angry. It's so good to just get outside and run. And I always feel so much better. It's the serotonin as well you're releasing in the body.
100%.
And yeah.
Yes, the best, I think, is the best stress release. And
Yeah.
serotonin, dopamine as well, because it's an achievement hormones. Your body
Hmm.
needs to get flooded with amazing hormones. I'm actually addicted to gym, I think, because it's one of the best, healthiest way to produce these hormones.
Yeah, but yeah, and that's exactly, and I noticed the difference because since I had my operation, I'm not able to do anything, and it really affects how I feel because I really
Yeah.
enjoy like going and sweating and getting it out because I can't do that. I can feel the difference. It's
Yes, your body literally misses it. And I
yeah,
start
yeah,
stressed. I'm just recovering from, I think it was 10-day on and off sickness. And I
Mm.
tried to go to gym and it made me worse. So for me, it's
Yeah.
almost impossible. It's the worst punishment, not being able to go to gym. I literally go crazy.
I know, but I think it's also that thing, the body is telling that, what you need. And I feel
Yeah.
also my body is telling me I need to rest. So that's probably why, like, I also had the flu and I had the operation. My body's telling me it's time
Mhm.
now. And it's
Yeah.
about also respecting the body, what it's trying to tell you as well.
Absolutely. Sometimes it's just too much, and that is your body is literally signaling because I think I over pushed myself before this
Mm.
happened because I wasn't
Yeah,
sleeping much and I was trying to do so many
yeah,
things at once.
yeah.
My head was going crazy, and I was
Mm.
like, hold on, just stop,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
relax. It's very actually. I think we need to really listen to our bodies.
Mm.
They also, when you crave something, that means your body needs this nutritional element.
Yeah.
So, for example, when I was craving fish head soup, that
Mm.
it tells you what you need, what nutrition
Yeah.
you're looking. So I think
Hmm.
we need to be more gentle sometimes to our bodies. And
Yeah.
for example, I also, Soraya, practice meditation.
Mm.
I've studied Vipassana technique or Joe Dispenza. It's a passive way of working with your body, but it achieves the same result by scanning your body. Or Joe Dispenza meditations are one of the best two that I use. And sometimes when I do, Joe Dispenza has breath work and his music, it's 1.5 hour. And sometimes when I do this just 1.5 hour of his breath work, it's best than massage. My whole back, I have problem with my back, just gets more relaxed and sometimes more efficient and effective than even than massage. So meditation, I think, is one of the other tools that you can use.
Yeah, and I think this is it because I'm a massive fan of meditation. I always encourage my clients who work with me to do meditation first thing in the morning, just to create that space. And and what I say is, when you feel you don't have time for meditations, when you need it most.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't realize how when I meditate, and I do it in the morning, and I'm a morning person because sometimes I wake
Mm.
up at 5 a.m. Like it's too early, right?
I know you send very early messages, Oksana, so I kind of got
Yes,
it.
yes, I'm very active in the morning. So I use that time to meditate. And when
Yeah.
I do, like literally all the best like ideas and just come when you meditate. And I
Mm.
think a lot, what also worth mentioning that a lot of people have wrong idea what meditation is. I think only when you do it properly, like Vipassana, they teach you the proper technique. It's not about trying to switch off your mind. It's
Mm.
not about it's not a breathing exercise. No, it's really the right technique. It's the scanning body technique, right? And
Hmm.
when you scan your body, you literally start noticing where your blocks in body is located. And once you do the breathing technique, you're literally relaxing. It's very similar to, I don't, I'm sure you know the progressive muscle relaxation
Yeah,
technique.
PRI. Hmm.
Similar, yes. So meditation is that
Mm.
intensified. And we also visualize the light that going through your body. So it's
Mm.
that technique. Imagine doing this for 1.5 hour.
Mm.
It can literally heal you. I think we don't realize the power of underestimate the power of this method.
Yeah, no, I get it. But for listeners who don't have like that long, for me personally, because I even like 10 minutes I meditate in the morning, just like 10 minutes first thing in the morning, it really makes a massive difference in my day. And I notice when I do it, as opposed to when I don't do it, how differently I feel throughout the day. It just kind of centers you from the morning.
It senses you, even your brain capacity actually. When we're
Mm.
stressed, our brain capacity to think actually shrinks. So
Mm.
when we're stressed, the first thing we need to do is meditate to just calm down a bit,
Yeah.
just really being able to, even 10 minutes. I think if you can do 30 minutes, it's even better. Even
Yeah.
like whatever you can do, just to give yourself that time. I think we can always
But
find.
I think, a lot of people that have this real kind of, you mentioned it earlier about this conception about what meditation is. So I'm saying for those who have never done it and who are really against it, even like 5 or 10 minutes to start with is great. I mean, when I first did it like years ago, for me, sitting still was a real big issue because I always had to be on the go. I'm very much kind of, I
Mm.
can't switch off. So the idea to tell me to sit down in silence for a long time was impossible. But you kind of build on it. It's like a foundation. So I started 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then I could do like 30 minutes an hour. But that's like but it's a process, isn't it?
You
And like
can
even
teach
now
your
when I
body. Yeah, you can teach.
yeah, you teach yourself, yeah.
And your mind doesn't actually get bored. And opposite, when you scan, if you don't just sit and trying to switch your mind off, that's the worst
I
advice.
can't
I
do
think you can't.
that.
The more you try to switch it off, the less it will
Yeah.
resist back. So the best
hmm
thing you can do is just to start shift your attention by
hmm
observing your bodily sensations. And as you do
Yeah.
that, then that's the real meditation. And when you do scanning technique, you actually go deep. You're never bored. It's actually amazing.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, some people can sit in silence. I'm not one of those people. So I like a guided meditation. So there's so many options out there for people who are interested in trying, right? There's what you've mentioned. There's also like so many guided meditations you can find online. So I always tell my clients to find what resonates with them because everyone's different.
And I recommend Joe Dispenza because he has such a huge variety of different tools. Even walking meditation, you can just
Yeah.
download. It costs like $20. You can download and listen. And his meditation are incredible. There's music background. Like it just heals you. For me, it works
Mm,
really well. I would recommend his meditation for sure.
yeah. Thank you for sharing. So how does your work with hypnotherapy and systemic constellations differ from more surface level or purely cognitive approaches, especially when someone feels stuck or overwhelmed?
Right, so I'm just gonna quickly say why systemic approaches are made, just to remind our listeners. So, as systemic constellation approach, the key strength is that it looks beyond you as an individual system. It looks at your root causes, which
Mhm.
may have their roots in your family history, in
Yeah.
intergenerational dynamics. So, and that is why, especially, it is especially useful when you feel stuck or overwhelmed, when you feel stuck, when you've tried talking therapy, it doesn't work, you've tried CBT, and usually I have most of my clients, they come to me when nothing else worked and they decided to give what I do a try, and
Mhm.
that will shift something that is it's exactly that. It's not a surface level cognitive
Mhm.
approach. We work with subconscious, we work with um, the the inherited family traumas, and we touch on really deep rooted issues, 100%. So
Mhm.
that is how it's different.
Yeah, thank you. And many women in midlife experience anxiety, fatigue, or disconnection. How can nervous system regulation support deeper shifts?
I think we've touched on meditation. And
Mhm.
I think it's especially with a lot of women going through midlife crisis and these changes, it's very important to really put your well-being on the first place. I know we like all try to work and run families and look after kids. And it's difficult sometimes to prioritize our own well-being. So I think it is especially important to first of all is to look for my personal experience at nervous system regulation, the best way to do it is start with meditation
Mhm.
techniques and somatic body exercises that we've discussed, along with nutrition, diet, exercise. That way we all need to begin. Um, I'm not sure if you can maybe, Soraya, share your experience if you're going through that, or is there any specific um, maybe something you can share
You
with
mean for women going through, I mean, midlife,
from
I do have a lot of clients who come,
clients, yeah.
with issues, but it's all to do like everything's kind of coming out. It's like you mentioned before, when you freeze, you're suppressing a lot of emotions. And I think at
Mhm.
this point in our life, it's all coming out basically. So I think it's a really powerful point in our lives. And then I'm 48 now, and I've noticed the last decade a lot of things have been coming up for me, which I'm processing, and I'm embracing it.
I think
Yeah,
also a lot of women at this age, maybe because I don't have kids, but from my, I think, understanding is that kind of your children now is like more mid-teenagers usually, right? So could be that you want to come back to work again in this for the first time. You can kind of leave your children and start thinking about yourself as well, and also it kind of prioritize your own well-being. And also, I think when we hit midlife time period in our lives, is it that's really when the everything that we've suppressed before when we're young and when we're
yeah.
just busy working, building families, and we have that all energy, everything that we've previously suppressed, I think that's when it starts coming out and
Hmm.
showing in our bodies, especially if we neglected certain emotions or neglected our health previously, that is when it starts showing up, usually, I think.
Yeah, it's our identity shifts. I mean, I had this conversation with like other women in my age group, and we have these roles that we play throughout life. Then you have like the mom, whatever, and then
Yeah.
as you mentioned, that your kids get older, and then you have a different identity, and you kind of try and discover who you are
Hmm.
as opposed to having a label, and you really live your life the way you want to live on your terms. I think that's quite empowering, and a lot of women, they change careers.
Like
They
me,
kind
yes,
of,
I changed
yeah,
career.
like me as
Yes.
well. I mean,
Yeah.
what you mentioned earlier, that's like me. I used to kind of, have a different belief of what success was, like being in the business, being corporate.
Yeah.
But actually, I've kind of let go of all of that, and I've leaned into what I was always interested in, which is the holistic,
Yeah.
healing path, which is where I am now.
Yeah, I'm the same. And it does kind of look scary because you haven't like done it for like you some people think, oh, maybe is it too late to start completely new career?
No.
But yes, exactly. And it's both. I think we start thinking about the meaning of life. We start thinking what's really important for us. I think our priorities and values might be, we start questioning really, what the life purpose is and if
Yeah.
it's worth living. And if financial gains and rewards or what your family expect from your society expect from you. For example, my biggest realization is I'm now thinking like I do want to have my own kids if I can, but if I don't, I actually do feel a lot of pressure from
Mm,
society, from my family, that people might look at me, or is something wrong with me because I don't have kids? And it's
mm,
like it might not happen and it might not be in everyone's journey. So what is it? Is it do I want it family, or is it the external pressure on me to have
yeah.
kids?
Hmm.
So we do really start think about what is it do I want to connect to our authenticity
Yeah.
and soul desire. And
Hmm.
I think that's the age where we stop listening to this external noise and expectations and stereotypes. I think that's a very, very important stage.
Yeah, and I kind of it's that wisdom as well, the wise woman with many years of wisdom, and then it's kind of turning inwards as opposed to caring so much on the outwards, what people are thinking. It's what you're doing, what you want to do, right?
Exactly. Yes. So.
Um, so how can your work support women navigating these transitions, like the identity in relationships and purpose? Have you seen much of that in your work?
Oh yes, absolutely. And I'm gonna mention something else I haven't mentioned. I did mention the numerology. So actually, I have a
Mm,
lot of requests from clients who are going through exactly that when they are in the middle of career transition or
mm,
they want to find their purpose. So I can also look at their birth chart and consult and help them as well to understand what's in stars, what like because there is a lot of information we can see from the chart, from the
mhm.
numerology chart or astrology. I don't know if you ever used it, but it can be quite helpful. And my primarily of my clients actually coming when they are in between or transitioning from one stage to another.
Mm.
That is when I can also look at, in addition to what we already discussed.
So when you do the charts, that's more to see what is written for them, what they should be doing, kind of advice, kind of
Yes,
guiding.
and we actually see these transitions. We are similar to astrologers. They can see like a major life transitions, and we can actually advise what would be the main focus most of us actually feel inside. We know that what, especially if you're highly intuitive. But most of the time, I'm just confirming what my clients already kind of knowing, and they just wanted that
Mm,
confirmation. For example, like might say, it's time for you. For some women, it's actually time to focus on their family. Or for
mm,
some women, it's time to focus on their career. And from I can have a look at what is written in for that particular period and transition and advise them from the point of view of how stars align and what is written in their chart for sure.
okay. And what about with the family constellations? Is that also what you have women coming to you who are in that point in their life who need
Oh,
help,
yes.
guidance?
To be honest, primarily, first of all, I think it's probably around 80% women and
Mm,
most of them 35 plus.
hmm
Obviously coming with the same kind of inquiries, and when they are have a bit more time now to focus on themselves, children more or less grown up, and they just want to work through stuff that is important for them. Yes.
And in your sessions and programs, what recurring themes or breakthroughs do you witness when people move through change?
So the main ones, interestingly enough, and I always start, and but I think you've mentioned this, is we don't actually expect when we I change, I try to change relationship with parents, and that is the we don't actually understand how important our how we view our parents, and I begin with this because this is the foundation, because we don't realize how, for example, having holding grudges towards our parents and not accepting them who they are can affect our life. To what extent it affects our lives? Because if we cannot receive love in any age from mother, if you feel subconscious grudges or we have certain, we reject her love subconsciously, it's hard for us to fully connect to have resources for life to continue living. So when we don't receive parents, it's and whether they alive or dead, it doesn't matter. Energetically, this is the place. It's like it's a battery for life for us. And if that relationship, the most important, especially with mother, if this relationship is it's not aligned, or we have hold subconscious grudges or resentment, it affects you in like it will you will struggle to get resource in life or to receive from life. That's what I work, and I think that's the core of my work, is to reconnect and explain these dynamics and
So
how
you
we
have a lot of the issues come down to relationships with parents, you find?
it might not necessarily look like this is the root cause on the surface. For example, a client might come, most of like the case of I have low self-esteem, life
Mm,
is difficult for me, I'm struggling financially, or nobody loves me, or stuff like this. It doesn't look like it's a really it's the root cause. It's actually it's problem with relationship with mother, inability to receive love, what we call the bond, uh, mother and child bond is broken.
mhm.
So, and when that happens, it affects our self-esteem and inability to receive, and it can cause lots of different problems. So that's the primary focus, especially when someone comes the first time, is that early break with mother, especially during your developmental age, when your nervous system is just building from 0 to 3 years old, is the most important. That's what I work most of the time with.
So that's interesting. So you're saying lack of confidence and, this issue of money might be a relationship
Yeah.
issue with the mother. What about the father? What
Father
kind of issues do you see related to the father?
Father comes a bit later in our life. It's more to do with society, professional realization, ability to earn as well, but not to the
Mhm.
same point. It's more to do with society and your professional realization is how is your relationship with the partners, colleagues, and it's more to do with your professional realization. And if the father figure is not present, or also relationship with man. It affects our relationship with man. So, but he's not as fundamental in the child development as mother.
Interesting. Okay. And from your perspective, why might this phase of life become a really powerful invitation for transformation and reconnection rather than simply a challenge?
Oh, this phase of life, I think we touched a lot on this on the midlife crisis already. Um, Powerful invitation, transformation, reconnection. To be honest, I think we all need to, as I said, prioritize ourselves, and this is the right time when we have this midlife crisis situation, when we start thinking about, um, I think don't wait until it's too late, until you're 50 and to start working on yourself. I think that now is the right time until you hit 40s, until you hit 45, is the best time to work.
Wow, I mean, I'm 48, still working on myself, Oxana.
48.
Yeah.
Wow, you don't look. Oh my God, Soraya. What are you
That-
doing to your face? I need a doctor.
No, I think it's just a hydration, good food, and I really believe also in the mind. The mind has an effect as well. How I feel like I'm in my 20s, so
Yes, you don't look at all. That's
I
amazing.
surprise myself when I say my age because I don't feel like I'm 48. Yeah, I
Wow.
feel like I'm still in my 20s or maybe 30s, the pushing.
Wow, that's amazing. I think yes, you definitely have good genes, and it is to do with your lifestyle as well and your mindset, I
Yeah,
guess.
it's definitely not, and I really believe like age is changing. It's not, I remember when I was a kid, I used to think 40 is so old.
Yeah.
But obviously not anymore. But then now on social media, I see so many accounts of really inspirational women. Like there was a woman, I think she was 76 and doing weight training, and she had
Wow.
amazing legs. I forgot her
Wow.
name. I just found her yesterday when I was looking, and it just really reminds you, age is just a number. It's really
Mm,
how you live your life and what's important to you and how you want to grow. Because I don't want to live till 100 and be, really in a really bad shape, not being able to do anything for myself. The whole point is to enjoy your life. So
absolutely.
that's, again, the mind is very powerful and that our body are what we put into it, what food we're giving ourselves, how we're
Yeah,
treating our bodies and our minds is how we grow.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
So, but I love watching these videos of these really strong women, and they look great as well. They're doing their hair, like the
Yeah,
dressing.
it's so motivational. They can lift more
Mm.
weight than you can, right? I mean, it's really inspire you to.
Yeah, but Oksana, when I'm saying she was weight training, she was literally lifting some really heavy weights that I wouldn't even lift, and
Oh,
she had really
wow.
strong legs. I have to look that up and put it on the notes because it's great.
Yeah,
When you see what's out there, you know that you can also do that as well.
100%. It's very motivational.
Yeah, we don't have to be pigeonholed into just becoming these old little ladies knitting, That's not me. I don't want to
No,
be knitting. I want to be out there parachuting, like, parasailing, do all sorts of crazy stuff.
and that's the time to do it. Exactly.
Yeah, but there's no, what I'm saying, there's no deadline. Like, you don't have to do it
No.
by a certain age. You can keep doing it as long
It's
as you
what you
want
say to
to.
yourself. It's like with running. I remember it was like first time I ran 10K. I thought I wasn't able to do that. It was like, oh my God, it's all in my head. I'm not even that
Mm,
tired. You just tell yourself to do it, and it literally all our limitations in our mind.
yeah. Even this idea about by what age you have to stop doing stuff, there's no age limit because I see people like running the marathon who are in their 80s. So,
Wow.
this is the idea, and we have so much potential to do anything we want to do, and it's like you said, we are kept in our own prisons, which is our mind, believing we can't do more than what we can actually do.
100%.
You'll be part of the upcoming self-love retreat in February. I'm really looking forward to welcoming you then. What will your session focus on, and what might women expect from your work in that space?
So I'm gonna do very important thing is demonstrate how the family constellation session work. How does it look like on a practical level, right? And as we already discussed, it's really hard to explain. So I will
Mm,
be talking about what systemic constellation is and demonstrating how does it work, so women can experience them firsthand, what it is, and hopefully benefit from this experience.
Hmm. And how does the retreat environment support deeper healing or insight compared to one-to-one work?
Oh, it is a huge difference. When I do online, I also do online family constellation sessions
Hmm.
with toys, and it's just not as powerful. It's just the group work, the group dynamic, the community space. It intensifies the healing experience. And
Mm.
I think that's one of the other secrets why family constellation work that well, is the group. It's a group embodiment practice, and it's just also woman helping women. It's extremely, you know, it's just nice to be in that surrounding space and environment when everybody's supporting each other.
Yeah, and that's the reason why I had this idea of creating this space for women, because women, like you said, being together, supporting one another is very powerful. And there's such a lovely energy in that
Mhm.
space as well. Everyone is there for each other, and I think everyone is there who's supposed to be there as well, energetically, you kind of see yourself. Even when I came to your workshop, Oksana, I came as a representative, so I didn't, it wasn't me the issue. But when I was acting other people's constellations, I could see myself in each of those.
Yes, that's the beauty. I don't know how field works, but it literally everyone comes with the same similar situations. And
Mm,
it's to me until this day, I don't know, it's pure magic how it happens because you happen to represent or be selected to represent the issue
yeah.
that you resonate with. And it happens
Yeah.
all the
I mean,
time.
that last one, I mean, I was in tears by the end of it because it really touched home, because I was selected to be the daughter and I could feel myself in that. It was, I can't explain it. It was just such a weird, like, I don't know, I can't.
It's
I'm
not a
speechless.
Yeah, it's not a coincidence. It's just how it meant to be. And the
Mm,
beauty of all of these group gatherings is just the community itself, the group work itself supports this transition and
hmm.
this energy, shared communal space and energy. And in itself can be therapeutic. In itself.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I've seen in the retreats I held this year. Each weekend I did, obviously there was different women there and different practitioners, but the one thing they all had in common was this energy and this sisterhood that, these women were there for one another and they all had connections. Something resonated in each of them. Whatever one said, the other one felt something as well. I don't know, it was really magical.
So towards the end of these sessions, we all feel like family. People don't want to leave.
Yeah.
And I have so many regular clients that just keep
Hmm.
coming back. It's magical. And once you feel it, you just want to experience it again because
Yeah.
it's so just being in that space, even if you're not participating, just to be in that space, you feel the energy. And that's the beauty of
Yeah, and I think because that's it, I know obviously like I also do one-to-one work as do you, but it's very different when you're working in a group setting. You get more from it, I believe, that collectiveness.
100%. 100. For me, from my experience, it's the two, it just intensifies the healing
Hmm.
and
Yeah,
up the healing.
that was really powerful. Okay, and so could you share one simple reflective, somatic, or grounding practice that listeners could try today to reconnect with themselves?
I would probably come back to meditation,
Mhm.
simply because I do think there's a massive misconception. People dismissing this technique and modality simply because they've tried this online, deep through you, the deep breathing exercises
Yeah,
or this like online apps where they tell you just try to stop thinking and they just don't understand the healing potential of meditation. So I would probably suggest to do a very simple exercise. If you can take a deep breath and close your eyes, and maybe just for 5 minutes, just give yourself that 5 minutes and close your eyes and try to just stop your mind from thinking and just really connect to your body. Just try to just start sensing sensations. And imagine healing white light coming through the top of your head. Through the top of your head, relaxing every muscle. And just you can see this white light and feel it on the top of your head. Even if you don't feel anything, just start noticing any sensation. Maybe some heat, perspiration, temperature, tingling, anything at all. Try to stay there for a bit longer. And once you do, imagine this healing white light start coming down through your scalp, inside and out. Feel this warm and pleasant sensation going down your scalp, inside and out, relaxing every single muscle. Going down your forehead, your eyebrows, in between your eyebrow. Just stay there and feel a bit more on the back of your head and your ears and your eyes. See this white light spreading down. Feel this warm sensation. See this white light going down your jaw, relaxing every single muscle, inside and out. Feel your facial muscle relaxing. Your jaw now is completely relaxed, going down your tongue, your mouth, your neck, down to your shoulders. Both of your shoulders are now completely relaxed. Feel this pleasant sensation. Complete relaxation. Going down your arms, elbows, your arms. Good. Feel both of your arms now relaxed. Feel this warm sensation, relaxation going down your chest, your belly. See this white light, feel your belly. Inside and out, all the muscles going down your belly, towards your hips, down your leg, to your calves, knees, and feet. Try to imagine or sense white light and warm sensation, complete relaxation. With every breath you take, you're going into the deeper state of relaxation. Good. So this is one of the example of how you can just very quickly relax your whole body using sensual, depending what kind of person. I'm visual, so for me it's very easy, or sensual, I can sense. Depending what kind of your leading sensory system, it helps you, everyone, to be honest, to relax and just connect and refill your battery. You can even do, once you practice it, learn how to do this. Even I do it sometimes when I close my eyes on the tube or public transport, or when you need to sit for a long period of time, and it gives you energy. It really recharges you and revitalizes you. It's a very simple and practical exercise that I use a lot.
Thanks for sharing that. So that's very relaxing. So other than that, I mean, that's a really practical way. Is there anything else that you do on like a daily ritual that you use other than meditation to help you align with your inner compass or deeper truth?
I try to walk a lot, so for me being outdoors and in nature, and
Yeah.
especially winter when it gets dark very early at 4 o'clock. So I try to have my 1 hour walk
Yeah.
before it goes down. So you need to see the daylight, and many
Yeah.
of us working and forget about that. And that you start really getting depressed. So at least 1 hour walk or exercise or both is it's an
Mm.
absolute must.
It
Yeah.
makes a massive difference, doesn't it, to be outside? I've especially
Yes,
when it's getting dark, like you said, early.
it's very, very important. And just being in nature, just see this green
Mm.
space. And if you try to, if you have a park or just to connect and come down, it just
Yeah.
like it doesn't need to be hardcore exercise. Just like at
Mm.
least I think it's half an hour of walking every day.
Yeah,
It's very,
that's what I'm doing because I can't exercise. Like I said, I am making sure I'm going outside to walk because without that, it'd be very difficult for me to
yeah.
function.
And you feel the difference right away. Your
Yeah,
body, yeah.
absolutely.
Mhm.
Okay, and what's lighting you up most in your work at the moment, Oksana?
My clients' results. And it just every client that I have, for example, recently I've had this lady who came back to me and said, after your constellation, I started writing music.
Wow.
And it's I feel like my heart open up and I become creative. I never thought this, I can be creative. I can write something, and she convinced that it's because of our sessions with her. I've had lady who couldn't conceive for 4 years, and she um, fell pregnant after one session of 3 hour meditation.
Wow.
A beautiful baby boy is now 6 months. Matthew, she just sent me photo, and that's the best result, literally, that you can receive. Um, this is why I do what I do, this work, and
Mm,
the best
mm. Very rewarding.
reward for me, yes.
And if you could leave women listening with one message about reconnecting with their power, body, and purpose in midlife, what would it be?
Choose yourself. Be selfish. Because women need it. Be selfish, choose yourself. Start
Mm,
worrying about anybody else, even your children, because if you don't refill yourself, I think woman is the energy in battery in the whole family.
mm.
If we don't feel ourselves first and recharge, we can't feed our husbands and kids because we hold everyone together. So prioritizing ourselves is a must.
It's very important. Agreed. Yeah. And what's something your body or intuition has been teaching you lately?
Wow, what's my intuition been teaching me lately?
Or your body?
I have a lot of insights and realizations. Where do I begin? I'm
Mm,
going through this systemic coaching course, and I'm learning about systemic principles, which I'm planning to launch my own course as well. And once again, I can't, for example, I don't know if you, this latest notion that we studied um, is how to work with clients. And there was one example which was astonishing. They say your clients is reflection of you,
mm,
right? And if there's something you judge or disagree with, or if you have repeating clients, an issue, what are these issues? My issue was that my client wanted more time. Most of the time, for example, we have 1.5 hour session. And
mm,
when it's about to finish, she would always ask extension. She would always say, "Oh, please, can we stay longer? I'm gonna pay you more." Or can she would ask for kind of exceptions, and I was like, "Why is this happening to me? Like, why?" And
mm,
my teacher told me, write down where do you behave in a similar way. I was like, no way, I'm not behaving. I'm very mature and adult. And I was like, not with clients, maybe in other systems like relationship, family, where do you behave in a similar way? And it took me like 20 minutes to really think. Anyway, I found the personal one-to-ones like system. In my relationship, I behave like a bit like a child myself. So and I
mm,
wrote down all of this realization on A4. And the moment I stopped writing down all these realizations, client come in, money come in, and I have a session with the same client, and she said, once you realize what she's highlighting to you, once you realize it, she will stop. I was like, no way she's gonna stop. Next day, she comes for session, we finish, and she says nothing at all for the first time.
wow.
And I worked with her for 1 year. It's my
Mm,
longest client. She said nothing. She
mm,
suddenly stopped asking for anything, like which goes beyond the session. And the moment I stopped writing my realizations, the client came in and money came in. That means they say from systemic principle perspective, the universe is talking to you and it's a sign that you're doing something right, and it's a reward. So it rewards you when you realize something that you need to change in yourself. And that was just like mind-blowing. How does it work? It's
That's
amazing.
crazy.
That is
But
one of
this goes back to the idea. I really believe that, we're on a journey and we kind of learning. Everything happens for a reason. People in our lives are there. They're teaching
it's
us
just
something and we have to
mirrors.
learn. Yeah.
It's our mirrors, every single person we need, and that
Even
is what
clients, like you said, you have certain
science is
clients,
the
they come
biggest
to you, they're
mirror.
also teaching you something.
They say it's your blind spot. So it was my blind spot because I was like, no way, I'm very mature. Like I couldn't like honestly, it was so difficult. And once I realized it, like it changes right away. Like within that
Mm,
second, you can change a
wow.
lot of things by just doing what I just
That's
described.
crazy. Yeah, I love that story.
Yes, and I want to share it as well. Once I complete the studies, I want to share
Yeah,
it.
great. And last question is, what does living as your limitless self mean to you right now?
Pushing yourself harder. I think a lot of us, and me myself included, are stuck in our comfort zone. I think we've
Mm,
touched on this before. For me, it was videos. I don't know if you've noticed, badly, but I
yeah,
started posting, and they probably still not perfect, but I already stopped caring as much as I
yeah.
did. So I really pushed myself out there,
Mhm.
and I think we all need to do a bit of that. Because the sooner we're going to push ourselves, the faster we'll achieve results. And we come to this world not to sit comfortably in our sofa. And if you stay comfortably in your sofa for too long in your comfort zone, life will push you out. Okay, we are
Yeah.
here to rest and relax. We're here to work and push ourselves
And expand, right?
and
That's the only way we can
expand. Yeah,
expand.
that's
Yeah.
the biggest thing.
You're right though. We need to get out of our comfort zone and just take the leap, and that way we grow. Otherwise, nothing changes and we stay the same.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much for joining today,
Thank you, Soraya.
Oksana. I love the conversation, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you in February for the retreat and experiencing again the constellations and sharing it with others who haven't even heard of it.
Thank you so much, Soraya. I really appreciate your time and opportunity. And it will be my pleasure to see you at the retreat on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, yeah, okay. So yes, again, thank you so much, Oksana, and we'll see you soon. Thanks so much for listening to Hot Flashes and Higher Self. And if something in today's episode spoke to you and you're feeling ready for deeper support, then you can book a one-to-one session with me. I work with women around the world to help them shift from stuck to self-led. And if you're craving real connection, movement, rest, and reset, then check out the women's retreats I host. They're a beautiful mix of healing, hot yoga, incredible food, and soul-deep conversations and connections. And you can find all the details at www.ls-therapy.com or come hang out with me on Instagram at Limitless Self Therapy. And you can also reach me directly anytime at soraya@lstherapy.com. I'd love to connect. Take care of you, fill that cup of yours, and remember, your next chapter is already unfolding.